Hi, my name is Biliana Balkanska. I work at Capgemini as the education team administrator. The best part of working for Capgemini is the fact that every day is different and everything is very fast paced. I like to wake up every day and know that there's something different for me to do there. I do have a passion for helping young people in education, and my everyday job revolves around that. We try to give young people as much experience and opportunities, whether that's online or in person, as we can. I got the information and advice from my school, my head of year in sixth form. He knew that I really didn't want to attend university. I felt like it wasn't really for me. He also knew that there was parental pressure there to go to university, but he advised me that if you don't like what you're doing, you won't give it your 100%. The apprenticeship has helped with my confidence in a way that I've met a lot of different people, and I've seen for myself that I am able to communicate with different types of people. I volunteered a lot for things like parents' evening and open evening, and I guess it's helped me in a way with my communication skills. It's made me more confident that I can really communicate with anyone that I want to. When volunteering, a lot of the times you have to do a lot of public speaking, and that's another thing with confidence and also communication, and I take those things into my everyday work and apply them. The advice I would give somebody who is having second thoughts about uni would be to first do your research. What's uni life like? Look into different universities, and also do your research on other things such as apprenticeships. Don't just kind of close yourself off in a box. Make sure you're open-minded. I guess the main piece of advice would be really listen to yourself and listen to your gut feeling, because it won't lie to you.
Hi, I'm Gemma, and today I'm going to be talking about your CV, what it is, why you need one, and what needs to go into it. Hopefully by the end of this you'll feel like you know all about what goes into making a curriculum vitae and confident about writing your own impactful CV. Now, in terms of your key skills, it could be that you don't even realise, but you already have all sorts of relatively new or emerging strengths and attributes that wouldn't have even come up when I was leaving school, not to sound old or anything. Things like digital skills, online communication skills, adapting to working environments like working from home, staying motivated and focused. These could all be extremely valuable additions to your CV. So maybe we should start with the basics then. What are the must-haves on your CV? Your name and contact details, and making sure that your email address is suitable and nothing too outlandish. So maybe your first name and your surname, and if that's already taken, just add a number. A personal statement, that's also good to include in your CV, and we'll go into more detail about that later. Your skills and personality traits that show you're a good fit for the job you're going for. You might not even recognise that these things are in you, so it might be a good idea to ask someone who knows you well, what are you good at? What are you known for? Now, you'd think this bit was obvious, but don't forget to include your education and qualifications, making sure that the most relevant stuff is there. So that means your GCSEs, A-levels, BTEC, any vocational qualifications. Any jobs you've had. Now that means unpaid too, so all your work experience or volunteering needs to go in. And again, make sure you tailor that information as much as possible to the job that you're applying for. And then finally, your interests. What is it that makes you, you? Now this is a chance to share something unique, different, attention-grabbing. And it could be that you enjoy computer programming, or you're part of a local football team or a drama club. All those things need to go in. Now, you've started to construct your own CV, so let's just go over a few things that you really do want to do and a couple of things to avoid. Something to bear in mind with your CV is that you need to be loud and proud about what makes you great. It's not something we're really used to, blowing our own trumpet, but on your CV you really have to. Remember, your CV's out there making a first impression in your place, so use it well. Highlight all your relevant skills, use points of evidence to prove you did it, make sure you're succinct and to the point, and don't forget to use spell check. Maybe even get someone else to check it over too. Spelling mistakes are not good and there's really no need for them. And I know I've mentioned this a couple of times, but make sure that every time you send out your CV, you've made it fit that particular job. It's not just a generic document. It should feel like you're the person they've been waiting for, and your CV shows that. Now, it might be a bit tempting to tell a couple of white lies, but don't. There's nothing to be gained from it, and you could easily get found out. A CV normally fits 2 pages nicely, so choose a standard font and a good font size so it's not uncomfortable to read. And remember, include all the important bits of information on there. Don't leave any gaps where the employer is left to wonder, what were you doing? And again, spell check your CV. Now, if at this point you're thinking, I'm not sure what I'm going to put in there for my skills, don't worry, there's definitely going to be something that you've either done or taken part in or created, either during your time in education or in your spare time. And if you're having trouble, think about anything you've done in a team, like in a school club or at the weekend. It could be sporting related or a Duke of Edinburgh award scheme. Jot them down as they come to you and take a look at some example CVs to get you thinking. I really hope you found this helpful, and that now you've got some ideas about how to create your own CV. There are plenty more resources on the Life Skills website to help you out if you need some inspiration. Best of luck.
Hi, my name's Simone Roche and I'm the founder of Northern Power Futures and Northern Power Women. I'm here to talk to you about why LinkedIn is so important. So when I started my career many years ago, and before I go any further, I just have to say, if you hear any creaking, we live on a boat, so we often get noises. It's not my knees, just because I've been working for 30 years. But anyway, so I think why LinkedIn is so important is it's a place where you can capture all of the good stuff that you're doing. So whether it's Duke of Edinburgh, volunteering, working in the local paper shop, whatever it is, get it written down because at a point in the future it's really hard to remember all the brilliant stuff that you've done. So whether you've done kind of summer camps, extracurricular activity, that's easy for me to say, get it written down, because you know what happens? Employers that you will come across, they will check you out on LinkedIn and you maybe think, oh, I haven't really got anything to put down there. You have, write it down and keep reviewing it. And if you see something that you think might be interesting to one of those connections, you can share it on LinkedIn. You can put your own little thoughts and top tips down there. So don't think that you haven't got anything to offer because you've got thousands and thousands of people on LinkedIn. It's really important. And this is where you start building your profile. And in all the years of business, so from me working in the Armed Forces, in the Royal Navy, to Blackpool Pleasure Beach, to Southport Theatre, to Liverpool Arena, all of those places, you'll meet different people along the way and you can connect with them. And that's what I've done. So when I'm in a, in a role or trying to make something happen, sometimes I'll look through and think, oh gosh, who could I connect with? Or who might I be able to help? Or they may be able to help me. So don't think of it as like just a boring thing that you put your information in. It's quite a live and agile community. And believe me, that's the place where employers will go looking for future talent like you. Good luck. Write it all down, celebrate your successes, and enjoy the rest of this virtual careers fair. Good luck, everyone.
My name is Zara Khan. I work at Walsall Council, and my role is the Positive Action Officer within the Walsall for All programme. I didn't know from a young age that I wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. I was never really set on a career. So there was opportunity for movement and kind of taken that time out to think about what I wanted to do. But I went to a grammar school, so it was the done thing was to go to university, and I was a bit of a black sheep when it came to that. I went through personally a difficult period because I was in limbo from when I left school to when I started at the council. I wasn't really sure what to do. I've always had the pressure to do my best, and that's something that my parents have kind of instilled in me. They've always let me choose my own route and my own way of doing things. You've got to enjoy what you do. That's really something that I believe in, because you're going to do it day in and day out, and you've got to want to get up in the morning to do a job. Work experience is so valuable because it can show you that there's other areas outside of school subjects within the world. The world's not split into math, science, English, and jobs that are rotated, revolve around that. I've always felt that I've been given opportunities and treated like any other employee. I sort of take it on myself now to be an ambassador for apprenticeships, so kind of going out to schools and careers events and talking about apprenticeships and all the positive things about them, and how you get paid a good amount of money for the work that you do. There's no debt, and you're treated like any other sort of employees. So when I first started on my work experience at the council, I was given the opportunity to attend the youth summit. Sort of from that came joining the Youth of Walsall, which is a local youth group that works to sort of empower young people and have their voices heard and combat issues and raise awareness of issues that are important to them. Young people are brilliant. They know their own mind. They're very educated on different, various issues that affect them. Let them have a chance at kind of speaking out and saying what they need to say and campaigning on things that matter to them. So I'd say to my 15-year-old self to not be afraid to walk your own path and do what's best for you.
Hi, my name is Serena Varaya and I'm Assistant Project Engineer at Severn Trent Water. I enjoyed doing leadership activities in my free time, such as the Army Cadet Force, so going into project management in the engineering field seemed perfect for me. All the volunteering that I did helped me in my interview process because it gave me a lot of confidence. At school I didn't know a lot about Severn Trent and a career in project management, so I decided to Google businesses that weren't too far from me, and that's where I stumbled across Severn Trent. So my parents didn't go to university. They did encourage me to go to university, but they also said keep a mind open if there is work to do as well, because my mum got her qualification by going through an apprenticeship when she finished school. I think the best thing during the course of my apprenticeship was when I'd got my grade. I was so overwhelmed and so happy with it. It was just like 2 years of work paid off. What I enjoy the most about working at Severn Trent is that it's got a really good culture. I'd say if you're thinking about going for an apprenticeship, I'd say definitely go for it. It's got so many benefits. You're earning money at the same time as you're getting your qualifications still, so you're not missing out. Also, it might be a bit nervous going into the workplace, but honestly, just jump straight for it. You'll be fine. Everyone's really supportive and nice, and it's one of the best things that I did, definitely, and I don't regret not going to university. I'd say to 15-year-old Serena, keep up the good work, continue to work hard, get as much work experience as you can, because all of it, as insignificant it may seem at the time, can really help you in your future and going forward, and you'll remember so many of those learning experiences that you have.
Hello, I'm Helen Pullen. I'm the Director of Safe Opportunities. I'm going to talk to you today about making the most of any opportunity offered to you. We're a company based in Crewe who provide opportunities for young people either via work experience, work placements, support with transition through to the next stage in their lives. The transition from a school or college into a workplace can be a really difficult time. When you transition from a primary school to a high school, there's lots of support in place, lots of visits, and you move as a class. When you transition into the workplace, you will choose different occupations and you will have a different individual plan to move forward. There are various pathways you can follow to move into paid employment. You can follow the school or college pathways. You can do a traditional work experience placement, or you could do a longer term work experience. You can do an apprenticeship or a supported internship. But while you're doing these programs, it's really important to make sure that you work on your CV, keep it up to date, and take advice and help when you need to with that. And also take every opportunity you can to do mock interviews and do some vocational qualifications as well. This will all help with your confidence and help you to feel more prepared when you're moving into the workplace. To be able to move forward with your career and your choices, you need to step out of your comfort zone. A big part of this is communication, so communicating with employers to find out the information you need, either by phoning them up, emailing them, sending them messages via social media, and also taking every opportunity you can to speak with employers and communicate with them, either via careers fairs or mock interviews, anything like that. And it's also good to try out and learn lots of new skills that are going to help you in the workplace. So think about what's needed and then go and find a way of learning those new skills. And really importantly, don't forget to ask for help, because it's the help is out there. Just ask as you need to. It's really important to take every opportunity you can to work with employers, and when you do, make sure you take the chance to research your employer, understand what they do and understand what they expect from employees. Make sure you take notes when you're working with an employer to record anything that they ask you to do and any specific ways that they work. And make sure you take time to reflect on any work you've done with an employer, just so you can think about, was that positive? Was there anything I can take away, anything I can learn from that experience? Time management is a really important skill for a young person to learn. If you can manage your time carefully and use your time productively, you'll get the best out of every single situation and every opportunity that's given to you. And remember, your career is a journey. This is not a destination. There's going to be bumpy paths and smooth roads on the way, but don't give up, keep persevering and keep working at it.
Hi, my name is Emma, and today we're going to talk about recognising and building your personal skills, why they're important, and why it's good for you to identify your own skills. Having a pen, pencil and some paper will be really useful throughout this exercise. So, why are skills important? Well, we use a range of skills in school, at home, and as we prepare to enter the world of work, and it's really good to develop our skills. Know which ones we're good at, and then also develop the ones that we're maybe not so good at. So, now what I'd like you to do is brainstorm and write down some of the skills that you think employers might be looking for. So you've had a chance to think about some of the skills and write those down. Now we're going to look at the image and you'll see some of the top rated skills that employers are looking for. We're going to go through these and I'm going to give you some examples. Communication. It's critical that you can communicate well to not only get yourself through the interview, but also you communicate with others when you get into the workplace. So as a manager, I always look for people who communicate in team meetings, who communicate with others in the team, as well as those across the wider team, so we all get the end results that we want to achieve. Leadership. We're not all born natural leaders, so this is something you can develop with experience. As a manager, I need to be able to lead with confidence to make sure that my team know that I can come out of my comfort zone and they have faith in my ability. Teamwork. Generally, we'll all be working a part of a team at some stage. And again, as a manager, I look for people who are good team players, because what happens when they aren't? It can create a bad atmosphere. Planning and research. Always do your planning, whether it be when you're going for an interview, because if you don't, it always comes across that you haven't researched or planned properly to give you your end result.
Resilience, the ability to bounce back from a knockback. I personally take the positive and the negative from any situation and then always try and develop it. Self-management. Think about getting yourself to work on time. What you're going to wear, how you're going to look, how you're going to prepare. Because often we don't get a second chance to make a first impression. All these skills you will already be demonstrating in some capacity on a day-to-day basis. If you've no work experience, where do you gain skills? So what I'm going to suggest, you pause the video and I want you to write down some of the ways that you can gain everyday personal skills. So you've had a chance to jot down where you can gain skills. Some examples could be if you're a prefect at school, if you do volunteering work, you might have a part-time job, or you play a team sport. Never underestimate the transferable skills that you gain from each of these activities. Transferable means we can move our skills around. So for example, if you're part of a team and you play a sport, think of the skills that you gain from that. Resilience, commitment, time management. A real broad range of skills will be invaluable to any employer. So now I'd like you to jot down your top 5 skills and how you could use them in real life. Before you hit pause, if you're struggling, think about speaking to a parent, a teacher, a friend, someone who can help you identify your skills. Don't forget you're going to have to talk and write about these skills as you apply for college, university and jobs in the future. Also, if you're struggling, use the skills dictionary. So you might want to press pause now and have a think about those skills. We're now going to look at a couple of workplace scenarios and we're going to identify some of the skills that you need for each. So, scenario 1, it's your first day in a new job. You're going to be meeting with your new boss, you're going to be meeting with your other team members, you're going to be undertaking some tasks. So what are the skills that you need? Well, first and foremost, good time management. Make sure you arrive in plenty of time. Good communication skills are key here. You're going to be talking with a wide variety of people. Make sure your listening skills are up to speed because you're going to be taking in a lot of information, and you're happy with your self-management because you've only got that first day to make a great impression. So our next workplace challenge is planning a staff rota. You've recently been promoted to supervisor and you've got to send out next month's rota in a timely manner to staff. So what sort of skills do you need to consider? Well, first and foremost, your leadership skills. You've recently been promoted, so you need to demonstrate your leadership skills and your ability. Secondly, make sure you put in the time to plan and research your rota to make sure you also get it out in a timely manner. Make sure you can listen to your staff in case they have any queries, and also that you can communicate effectively with them. I hope you enjoyed today's film and found it useful. If you're interested in finding out more about linking skills to jobs in different sectors and how you can build the skills that you need for different careers, check out the Wheel of Strengths in the youth section of the Life Skills website, along with other great resources. Thank you so much and bye!
Hi, my name is Tom. I work for Blackpool Transport and I am a digital marketing apprentice. I chose an apprenticeship because I looked at my options and I didn't think university was the right route. I didn't like the idea of more classroom learning. I wanted a much more hands-on approach. I actually did some work experience at an accounting firm because I did at the time think, finance and accounting, I'd love to do that. I was there for about a week and at the end of it I realised it's definitely not something I wanted to do. Which isn't a bad thing because, like I said, it narrows down my choices. So at least going forward from there, I knew I didn't want to do accounting. And not only that, but I've previously worked in retail, and because I'm doing a digital marketing apprentice, a lot of it revolves around customer service, talking to people over the phone or on social media. So by being able to already know how to talk to people over the phone and in person, that kind of set me forward a little bit. Some of my responsibilities include managing the social media account, maintaining, updating the website and the app with new content. My image of an apprentice was, you go make the brew, push to the side a little bit, but I wasn't asked to make a brew once. Yeah, I felt like a real part of the team. When I first told my mum I applied for apprenticeship, she was quite shocked because both my sisters previously went to university. So my parents just presumed that was the route I was going to take. If once I explained to them why I wanted to do an apprenticeship, they were really supportive. 3 key pieces of advice I'd give to anyone who was in my position would definitely be to explore your options. I work for a transport company and I do marketing, and that's not something you'd really put one and one together in the same boat. Definitely don't go for the obvious options. Just branch out, because you'd be surprised what you find. If it's possible, just do some work experience in those sectors, because it'll look great in your CV, but it also means you'll take something away from it. Whether you like it or not, you'll know whether you want to carry on doing something in that sector after your work experience. So it really does narrow down your choices for you.
Hi, my name is Biljana Balkanska. I work at Capgemini as the education team administrator. The best part of working for Capgemini is the fact that every day is different and everything is very fast paced. I like to wake up every day and know that there's something different for me to do there. I do have a passion for helping young people in education, and my everyday job revolves around that. We try to give young people as much experience and opportunities, whether that's online or in person, as we can. I got the information and advice from my school, my head of year in sixth form. He knew that I really didn't want to attend university. I felt like it wasn't really for me. He also knew that there was parental pressure there to go to university, but he advised me that if you don't like what you're doing, you won't give it your 100%. The apprenticeship has helped with my confidence in a way that I've met a lot of different people, and I've seen for myself that I am able to communicate with different types of people. I volunteered a lot for things like parents' evening and open evening, and I guess it's helped me in a way with my communication skills. It's made me more confident that I can really communicate with anyone that I want to. When volunteering, a lot of the times you have to do a lot of public speaking, and that's another thing with confidence and also communication, and I take those things into my everyday work and apply them. The advice I would give somebody who is having second thoughts about uni would be to first do your research. What's uni life like? Look into different universities, and also do your research on other things such as apprenticeships. Don't just kind of close yourself off in a box. Make sure you're open-minded. I guess the main piece of advice would be really listen to yourself and listen to your gut feeling, because it won't lie to you.
Welcome to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see 2 symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now, this bit is for the parents, guardians, and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Good afternoon, everyone. We hope you had a nice lunch and feel ready to go again and continue with your Esteem Pavilion broadcast project. In the next broadcast, you're going to hear from a range of people with different roles in construction. From understanding how big your site is and how you might envisage that space at home, thanks to a land surveyor, to meeting some of the professionals who work here in the UK and in Dubai, so you can understand how they all work together in a construction project. Again, experts are on hand after the broadcast to answer your questions via the live chat, which is situated next to the video player. I'm now going to hand over to the rest of the broadcast.
Welcome to the Esteem Pavilion Koyo Design Challenge 2020. The following short film was made by Levi Brown, who's a vertical construction manager at Topcon Positioning Great Britain Limited. Levi will introduce learners to measuring and setting out a site. By studying the student brief, you will see that there is a maximum area allocated for the Esteem Pavilion and grounds. This is 20 metres by 20 metres, which equates to 400 metres squared. Now you can use the same principles in this film to mark out sites of all sizes.
Hi, my name is Levi Brown from Topcon Positioning, working alongside DEC, Design, Engineer, Construct, and I'm here to show you how to measure a large square space without any of the fancy tools that surveyors usually use. Now, I've tried several ways.
First up, I tried to use a tape measure, but the longest one I had was only 5 meters long, so not really good enough for a big open space. Then I remembered that distance is equal to speed over time, so here's me timing a run. But in reality, who's got time for that? So next up, some gymnastics. Super fun, but essentially a waste of time. Let's just stick to the math, shall we? Now, what a lot of surveyors do is learn how long one of their strides or footsteps is. Even better, if you can learn to practice pacing out a metre, it will be easier to do the maths in your head. So I learned how to do this by laying out a 3 metre tape on the ground and practicing walking the distance in just 3 steps. Now I know that one of my paces equals 1 metre. So, to start setting out my big space, I placed an object on the ground to mark my start point. I used the tape measure from earlier. You can use anything, as long as it will stay in the same spot. Once you've done this, begin pacing in a straight line, counting your steps or your metres. Surveyors call this a bearing. So now, once we've measured or paced our distance, we can stop, turn 90 degrees to our left, use something else to mark this spot, then repeat that process again along your new 90-degree bearing. If you want to be really accurate, you can use Pythagoras' theorem. Now, you've probably heard it before. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now, I'll try and quickly explain how we can use this to check our angle. You need another pair of hands and 2 items to mark your 3 and your 4. Now, let's imagine that this is the footprint of the building that we're trying to set up. And we started from the top left corner, and we've already walked down our first distance on bearing, and now we're at the bottom left corner. So, if we can measure 3 meters back from the way we came along our bearing, this becomes our 3 in our triangle. Let's mark that. Then we can measure 4 meters in our new direction and mark this. And to check our angle, we can measure between those 2 points. Now, if this is 5 meters, give yourself a pat on the back. Great job. If not, don't worry. We can adjust one of those marks until we have a 90-degree 3, 4, 5 triangle. Now, once we're happy with this, we can repeat the process along the new bearing, remembering to mark each new corner as you go along. Do this until you arrive at the first point that you started on.
So, your turn. See if you can find somewhere 20 metres by 20 metres and plot out a square building. Now, don't worry if you can't get to a park. Measure your bedroom and use maths to sort of see how many bedrooms will fit into that 20 by 20 metre space. Have fun.
Hi there, I'm Alex McLaren. I'm an architect and Associate Professor at Heriot-Watt University. During lockdown, we're keen to keep everyone learning, and so my colleagues and I have made some short videos to help you with the Esteem Pavilion Challenge. We hope you enjoy it. So, one of your tasks today is to look at different roles in construction, to research those, and to document them for your final report. You'll find it really helpful to think of these different roles throughout the week as you go through developing your pavilion design project, because each of these different people would have different ideas to bring to the table at each stage of your design. Construction is all about teamwork, and there are so many exciting roles to be had and so many different kinds of people that are needed to fill them. I'm going to hand over briefly to my colleague Lindsay, who's going to talk about what first got her interested in construction and the different roles she's had and the different places she's worked since she made the decision to have a career in the construction industry.
My fascination with building design and construction started from when I was shown design and engineering drawings by friends of my parents when I was in early secondary school. I remember thinking that the drawings looked incredibly complex and what a challenging yet rewarding profession it must be in that sector. I completed my studies at Dundee Duncan of Jordanstown, and upon graduating I was just desperate to get out into the industry to learn further about all the different building types, construction methods, and follow the process from start to finish, as well as meeting, learning and experiencing all the different professions that are involved in design and building. Same sector, but different setting. 2006 saw a move in my career to the United Arab Emirates, where I continued my career working within the design and construction sector on various projects across the Middle East. My experience working on high-rise residential and hospitality towers saw me work with a very diverse mix of people with experience and backgrounds, from innovative structural engineers to brilliantly creative facade lighting designers, to financial controllers and clients who were really progressive in their outlook. The buzz you have on a building site is great. You are surrounded by people in different roles, from subcontractors that might be bringing certain materials to the site. You have the contractor who is overseeing the project buildability. You have the project managers that are overseeing that entire process towards the deadlines and criteria set by the client. So it's fantastic. And this is a great project, a culinary academy shown.
And I can't help myself. I always like to see developments, perhaps progress on materials, what have they built next, how far is it going along. And so I may annoy parts of my family when I want to have a little stop and take certain pictures just for my own liking. And I'm going to do that just now, have a little look at these villas, how they're coming on.
Whatever your role in construction, you're always working as part of a team. Here are some further reflections from other colleagues on their experience of working as part of our team at Heriot-Watt and in their careers so far.
As an architectural engineer, we are generally expected to be able to work in groups of different people. So in industry, we'll be working on a building site. We might be on a multi-storey building. It might be something quite small like a house, like what we're doing.
As an architectural engineer, we worked alongside geographers, business students, electrical engineers, and many more. And they have brought not only a new perspective to me, but also to the house and its capabilities. So, for example, the geographers have given more in-depth knowledge of how to make the most of the location, which is Dubai for us for the competition, or the structural engineers have worked really hard to make sure that our actual design is strong enough to bear with any kind of impacts the environment might bring.
My work focuses comfort and air quality in and around a building. I work closely with architects to ensure a building is properly designed so that it can provide a shelter for its occupants away from harsh outdoor environment.
In this project, we're working really closely with structural engineers, architectural engineers, obviously, are all together, architects, we've got civil engineers as well.
Most interestingly, I really like building services engineers because they take what an architect does, what a civil engineer does, and puts that in together in a design of building services that makes the building work for all the people inside of it.
My main areas of interest lie in architecture, design, and innovation.
I'm Edward Whiten. I'm the Operations Director of Inverty Homes, based in Dundee in Scotland. And this is one of our construction sites.
My job is to make sure the systems we design will do good job efficiently and at a low capital and environmental cost.
I am an interior and environmental designer, and I'm also an assistant professor for Heriot-Watt University. So when I'm teaching, I teach to a wide variety of built environment students, usually to do with design and the design process.
On a daily basis, we can be involved in anything from the on-site activities, pouring of concrete, erecting of timber frame kits, etc., to being back in the office, hosting meetings with architects, engineers, and any of our professional team to ensure that we can forward plan for our next sites.
The structural engineers have brought together into the project the expertise of how the house works, because we are in the desert, so sandstorms do blow a lot of wind, obviously, and a lot of sand onto the building. It has to be able to stand up to that. This all works together with us as well, so we have to make sure that the vents are in a position where they can be closed, or we need to make sure that the house itself is going to be safe to be in while a sandstorm's going on. Architects are the same as well. They obviously have a lot of leeway and design input into the interior and the exterior, but being able to work around with them and how everything works is really important as well.
You may have had time already to complete the Go Construct quiz, and that may have given you some insight into different roles within construction that perhaps you weren't aware of.
to this live chat facility tutorial. We have had a lot of questions recently about the chat facility and how to use it, so let's get into the video. The chat facility is built with students in mind, with a tool that doesn't need to be parent or teacher led. Each of our pages are linked to the person behind the broadcast, even after it's finished, so you can always ask your questions and get a response about the broadcast. So, let's have a look at how to use the chat facility. To use the chat facility, the first thing to do is to type your comment or question into the chat box. You can now enter your screen name. Your screen name will show when you type your question or comment. Now you will see the chat facility ask for your email address. As I mentioned before, each of our pages are linked to people from the organisation who can reply to your questions. You can enter your email address, which will not be shared with anyone, to get a direct response from the people behind the broadcast. If you do not want a direct response, then click the button at the bottom. People behind the broadcast can still respond to you if you don't provide your email address. This just means you may have to come back to the page to check the response. To type your question, simply click on the chat box. You will then see two symbols appear. The @ symbol will mean your comment or question will be posted publicly for others to see. The email symbol means your comment or question can be sent directly to the person of your choice from the list that will appear. You can now speak to the people behind the broadcast and ask any questions you may have, or check out our partner pages to see the companies we work with who you can speak to right now about their current vacancies. You can also check out our careers page, which connects you to employers. Our live chat service is linked 24/7 to employers from a wide range of sectors, all waiting to hear from you. You can leave a question about how to produce a professional CV or how to prepare for interviews, anything work related, and one of our businesses will respond to you directly. You can also access a wide variety of live interactive broadcasts and video on demand with the live chat support on all pages. Now this bit is for the parents, guardians and teachers. The best bit about the live chat facility is that it is completely moderated, so you don't need to worry if your young person leaves a silly comment, as it will only show on their screen and no one else's. Another great thing about the chat facility is that it is GDPR protected, so no information is shared with anyone else. We will protect all email addresses and will never share personal information of the young people. If you have any questions about the chat facility or the Learn Live channel, please use the email us icon at the top of the page. Thank you, stay safe and stay tuned.
Hi everyone, thank you for choosing my video. It's really great to be able to talk with you today. My name is Lizzie and I'm the volunteer coordinator for a charity called Friends for Leisure. I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about what it's like to work for a charity and also why I think you should become a volunteer. Quick background on where I work. So Friends for Leisure is a small charity, as I've said. We cover the Cheshire East area and our purpose is to provide friendship for disabled children and young people aged 5 to 21, helping them to socialise and take part in activities that they may not ordinarily get to do. My role, as I said, is as the volunteer coordinator, which means I look after all the wonderful people who volunteer for Friends for Leisure, the majority of whom are aged 15 to 18. It's my job to make sure the volunteers are getting the most out of their experience, that they are gaining new skills and they are increasing their confidence, as well as making a difference to the lives of our young people as well. Working in the voluntary sector is not something that I had imagined I was going to be doing.